Most swimmers lose races before they've even taken a single stroke. Not because they didn't train hard enough going into it, not because they don't want it bad enough, but because they waste the easiest speed they've ever had. That first 5 meters, that moment off the wall or the start, the quiet zone where water is calm, the body is tight, and the drag is the only enemy. It's the one phase of the race you can control perfectly. And most swimmers, they blow it. They glide half heartedly. They spread their legs like they're trying to parachute. Their elbows drift, their head pops, their core is soft. All of that free speed is gone, out the window. So today, we're going to dive into one truth that can change your swimming forever. Your glide is your greatest weapon. We'll break down how hydrodynamics works, what elite swimmers do differently, and how to train your streamline and glide until it becomes the fastest, quietest moment of your race. But first, why should you listen to me talk about something as simple as a streamline? I'm Coach Chris, head coach of the Swim Accelerator and assistant head coach of the Brentwood Seawolves. I'm a former national level swimmer myself, and I've been coaching for over 20 years, helping swimmers reach their potential in the pool. Throughout my coaching career, I've studied the greatest coaches of our time, what they use to make elite athletes faster. The ideas of David Marsh, Mike Bottom, Todd DeSherbo, Bob Bowman, and Herbie Bean. And if there's one thing each of those elite coaches agrees on, is that speed is not always created at the surface. It's usually created beneath it. I've seen swimmers drop half seconds off a 50 freeze and full seconds when they move into the hundreds without touching their stroke. Just by mastering how they push off and how they hold their line. That's what we're going to build today. Let's start with the science. When you push off the wall, you're the fastest you'll ever be in a race. Anywhere from 2 to 3 meters per second. But drag is relentless. It starts fighting you immediately. As soon as those feet leave the wall, drag will be there. There are three main types that you have to worry about. Form drag, basically your shape in the water. Frictional drag, the way the water slips over your skin or your suit. And wave drag, the turbulence you are creating or coming off of the wall, the one you created going in. Here's the truth that changes everything. Every unnecessary movement multiplies that drag. Your knees bend a little wider, you slow down. Your feet flare out on the wall, you lose acceleration before you even start. Your elbows drift, your whole body starts to wobble. Water punishes sloppiness immediately. That's why elite swimmers obsess over streamlines, as simple as they may seem. They understand it's not just form, it's physics. Most swimmers treat their glide like an afterthought. I see it every day with my senior group in their practices. They push, glide a little, and rush into those first strokes because it feels faster to just start swimming. They neglect the underwaters, their streamlines are sloppy, but that's like stepping on the gas while you still have the brake on in a car. You're not going to go anywhere. The truth is, the glide phase is your highest speed phase. You're moving faster than your strokes will ever allow. And it costs you almost no energy to get that speed. When you cut it short, you're throwing away free velocity. and replacing it with slower, more tiring movements. Neglecting your glide doesn't just cost time, it costs rhythm. You lose that calm, effortless connection that sets up your stroke tempo. Your glide is the handshake between your start and your swim. If that handshake is weak, everything after feels rushed and heavy. Before we continue on, I want to share a personal story of mine. I used to be like all of my senior athletes and the athletes I see all the time. I'd come off of that turn or off of my start, and my streamline would be sloppy. I didn't care. And now we got to remember, this was a time before underwaters were even allowed. So I was really punishing myself with drag, and it cost me a lot. My coaches would have us work on streamlines all the time, and it'd go in one ear and out the other, in the same way I see with athletes all the time. But then one day, I decided to actually try. I decided to go a little tighter on my streamline, a little bit more in line when I pushed off that wall. And my times began to drop. Not because I'd gone faster with the swimming part, but because my streamlines were super tight. I was basically squeezing every inch of my race that I possibly could out through that free velocity. So I cannot stress enough how much this means to your racing. An effective underwater glide is a living thing. You're not just holding your breath and hoping. Here's what it should look like. You want your head tucked, eyes down. I call this double chin syndrome. Not often do we want to have a double chin, but in swimming, coming in that streamline, go for it. Your arms need to be locked straight. One hand over the other, squeezing tight. And that's part of the mistake I see. They just go loose like this. That might look okay, but it's causing you drag. And one of my biggest pet peeves is when I see the biceps in line with the head. Get those biceps behind your ears, not beside them. Everything should be tight. Look at the difference. This is a normal streamline versus this. Which is going to have more drag? You want to keep your hips tight, your core engaged. The feet directly in line with your hips. Don't let them sprawl out and do whatever. Definitely don't point your toes down towards the bottom of the pool. So let's pause and think about that for a second. Go stand in a mirror and look at how tight your streamline actually can be. If your feet flare outward when you push off, you're throwing an anchor behind you. That splaying position creates lateral drag and kills acceleration instantly. Your feet should trail directly behind your hips, toes pointed, ankles extended. And that goes for all four strokes, even breaststroke. It's not just about looking clean, it's about staying narrow. Every centimeter, every inch matters. The difference between a tight streamline and a sloppy one can be up to 0.2 seconds per turn. Multiply that by 7 turns in a 200. That's 1.5 seconds gone. As most of you probably have assumed by now, I'm a bit of a swim nerd. So let's get nerdy. When your body forms a perfect line, fingertips to toes, you minimize frontal area and turbulence. The narrower the surface, the faster you slice through it. That's why submarines, dolphins, and torpedoes all share the same shape. A tapering cylinder that reduces drag by channeling flow around it smoothly. Your goal is to become that shape. Think of the water as thick air. You don't swim through it, you cut through it. The better your line, the less water you disturb, the longer your speed lasts before you have to use energy to rebuild it. That's why elite swimmers can cut half the pool underwater without even a single kick. Their drag coefficient is insanely low. You don't need to hold it that long, but you do need to learn that feeling. Another example I always give is think of yourself like a knife cutting a piece of cheese or a stick of butter. If you lay the knife out flat, you're just going to smush the butter or the cheese. But turn it to that sharp edge, and you can cut the thinnest slices possible. Be that sharp edge of the knife. If you want to get a great idea of what exactly we're talking about today, watch Dressel, Ledecky, or even Leon Marchand underwater. Their glide isn't lazy, it's electric. You can see the tension in their core, not stiffness, but connection. Their bodies don't wiggle, they pulse. Dressel's Streamline looks like a torpedo firing forward. Matched with that incredible dive that he has, he's getting so much free speed. Ledecky's turns are silent, not a single bubble wasted. And Marchand stays connected from push off to dolphin kicks to the breakout. One continuous energy line. That's the difference. They don't glide and just start swimming. They carry speed from their glide into propulsion, like a fuse burning into their next explosion. That's what I want you to feel. So let's get practical for a minute. The first drill I use with my swimmers to work on this is a torpedo drill. I have them push off and hold their tightest line possible. Eyes down, biceps locked, core braced, feet stacked. Glide until you slow noticeably, letting yourself come to the surface in a gradual form. My cue for this is always become the bullet. We can even make this a contest to see who ends up the furthest. Because the best streamline is going to be the one that gets you down the pool. Feel every muscle from fingers to toes in alignment. You can try this as 25s, you can do it as a contest, you can do this however you'd like. Just get as far as you possibly can. No kick, no extra breaths, just push and glide. The next one we do is long reach drill. Very similar to our torpedo drill, you want to push off, hold your line for roughly 3 seconds, then slowly extend your fingertips an extra inch further, trying to grow in length. You'll feel your lats stretch and your hips lock tighter. That's the extra meter you've been leaving behind. Doing kick on your back in a tight streamline, resting your head on your biceps helps you feel the connection from ribs to hips. Your stomach relaxes, your knees bend nicely with that small, fast kick, and you create less drag. This gives you that feeling of adding the kick while you're engaged. Now, all of this is for naught, though, if you don't have great wall alignment. So, the final drill is literally trying to push off the wall in the correct way. Before you push off, I want you to pause. Check. Are your feet under your hips? Or are they kind of sprawled out? Every push should feel like a coil releasing straight through your spine line. Feet in line, not wide. The glide doesn't end after the turn. It's everywhere. Too many swimmers rush their feet on the wall. Slow down that setup. Plant your feet shoulder width, in line with the hips, toes pointed, knees bent. Roughly 90 degrees will give you the strongest push off. That setup determines the factor of your push. Low angle equals more forward speed. Work on your glide to stroke transition. This is a golden moment. If you start stroking too early, you break your line. If you wait too long, you completely decelerate. Start the stroke as you feel yourself start to slow down, not after. That timing, right at the edge of losing momentum, keeps your velocity seamless. Even during your first breath, protect your line. Roll your head into the water, not up from it. Don't lift. Your body should stay long. Your breath should just fit inside that streamline, not break it. The best swimmers in the world don't swim harder, they glide better. Here's some math for you. If you gain even 0.15 seconds per wall, and you have 7 turns in 200, that's over a second. In fact, it's 1.05 seconds saved. That's the difference between finals and watching finals from the stands. That's why glides are the compound interest of speed. Small, consistent efficiencies that stack up over time. And the more you refine them, the less effort everything else will take. Training smarter means locking in those hidden edges. That 0.1 second moments that no one else values enough to master are the make or break of elite athletes. Here's your challenge. For the next 14 days, dedicate the first 10 minutes of every practice to just focus on your streamline and glide work. Film it if you're able to, then review. Ask yourself these 3 key questions. Did I stay tight from my fingers to my toes? Did my feet trail behind my hips or sit below? Did I glide until I slowed, not till I wanted to stop? Track your distance per push. You'll start seeing measurable gains, and more importantly, you'll start feeling the water differently. You'll learn how silence equals speed, just like I did, by focusing on my turns and on my tight streamlines. I reached potentials I couldn't even imagine. Swimming is a sport of motion, but the secret to speed is stillness. Your glide teaches you patience. It teaches you control. It teaches you how to move with the water, not against it. When you get this right, something magical happens. The water starts to feel lighter around you. You're no longer fighting it, you're slicing through it. That's true mastery. So tighten up your streamline, engage your core, feel that tightness and lift throughout the lats. Keep your feet in line and glide like every second counts because it does. This is how swimmers separate from the crowd, not by working harder, but by understanding how true speed lives. And it lives in the glide. And before we go, I want to tell you that the Swim Accelerator is now free to join throughout the rest of the year. You'll get that active community and insight into how to improve your swimming. I've dropped the link below. I can't wait to see you there. Over 75 members are now breaking barriers in their swimming throughout the Swim Accelerator. Join us, and until next time, I'll see you between the laps.